Hello, YouTube. Okay, quick. We're back for another Cliff Notes version of today's live. Okay, today we were talking about 5 things I believe every new or aspiring entrepreneur should know while they're building their business or thinking about building their business. Okay, as a CPA who's worked in a lot of different industries, I've worked in public accounting. I've worked in the airline industry in United, where I did internal audit. I worked in the hair care industry as a CFO, and also as an entrepreneur on the other side of the chair, where I am doing the styling. So I've worked in various different industries, and I've also got a chance to work with many successful, thriving entrepreneurs who are building their businesses, and they just need help with their accounting and understanding the ins and outs of their business, trying to achieve their financial goals with their business. And there have been some commonalities that I've seen even in my own entrepreneur journey that I feel like I wanted to share. So basically, this is the Cliff Notes version of what I talked about in that live. Again, if you want to hear the details, go back to the live, okay? We try to keep the Cliff Notes quick and short, okay? The first one that you need to know. First one, cash is king. Cash is king. Let me break that down in practice for you, okay? Let's think about it. Let's think about it from a personal perspective, okay? What do you need to pay bills? Cash, okay? Cool. What do you need to pay for food? Okay. Cash. Okay, cool. Or let's say capital. Let's say access to capital. Okay. What do you need to buy clothes? Capital. You get the points. Okay. The lifeblood of a business is that the flow of cash keeps flowing. If there is a consistent inflow, more inflow than there is outflow, you have a thriving business. If there is more outflow than there is inflow, you're in problems, you're in trouble, okay? So what do you do when a panoramic hits that you weren't anticipating? Let's say political campaign hits that messes up your Facebook ads. All these things that you can't control hit. And you were spending and you weren't managing your cash flow because you didn't have an accountant just sitting here going, because you can't manage it in your head. Get out of your head. You cannot manage cash in your head. And let's say, all of a sudden you're spending and it was good while it was good because you had the money in the bank, but then the money starts depleting slowly and you don't notice it that much because you're not managing cash flow and you're not managing forecasts and expectations realistically based on the real life of what's going on. And then next thing you know, you come to payroll and you realize you don't have the cash to run payroll for your employees who need that cash to pay their families. And now you're scrambling to try to find the funding. That's what takes business out. That's the difference between the business that thrived and made it through this panoramic and the people who could not hang, the people who had to save clothes for business. Cash flow. 9 times out of 10, it's always gonna come down to cash flow, okay? So keep that in mind. One thing, pivoting off of that, the second point that I wanna make, you never want to wait until you actually need the money or need a loan to request a loan, okay? What I mean by that, what happens is in the times where cash flow is a little weak, it's the little engine that could, you're gonna go to a bank and the bank gonna be like, you're a little risky. I don't want to lend to you. And then you're just scrambling, and you're just like, nobody will lend to me. But that's the only reason I'm looking for a loan is because I need it. But because I need it, nobody's going to give it to me. It doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense intuitively. But let's think about this, for example, okay? From the bank's perspective, I want to give cash to people that I know I'm going to make money off of. I'm in the business of profit, not not, charity, not trying to go out of business, not trying to be looking for cash myself. I am the bank. Okay. You don't want to lend to people who look like they on their last dime, because my money may not come back to me. Okay. When you want to request cash is when your business is thriving, you're doing good, because now you're going to see all the offers come in. You're going to hear bankers get buddy with you. They're going to try to build up relationships with you. Like, you really should, let us give you a line of credit or something. Let's do business, right? You're going to see a lot of people in your corner when the times are good, okay? I know they rocking with us when times are good, but when they bad, then they hanging with us. I'm sorry, that's human nature, okay? But at the end of the day, when times are good, now you can use that leverage. I recommend using that leverage to expand and grow so that things can be even better, as opposed to waiting to when you're retracting and you actually, you request the money that you really can't afford. Because if you could afford it, you would have the cash to pay for whatever you need to pay for it, okay? You're really like digging yourself into a hole. And now you're lending yourself open to all these sharky loans, et cetera, et cetera. So don't wait until it's too late to get the bait. I don't know. You get what I'm saying. All right. Next thing, 3. As an entrepreneur, you got to get creative. You got to work those creativity muscles in times where things pop off that you cannot control. Okay. All right. You got to learn how to get creative and think through ways to solve those problems. Okay. When you're a budding entrepreneur, let's say that you didn't struggle. Let's say things just started working out. You accidentally stumbled upon this business. Things are thriving. Customers are coming in. They're flooding. You didn't really have to. You got really blessed. Really, we're not going to use lucky. We're going to say blessed. Okay, you got really blessed. And then you're just like, hey, I got a thriving market. I'm good. I can depend on this amount of sales every single month. Okay, cool. And so you can't depend on it anymore, okay? Panoramic, perfect example. Things happen for brick and mortar businesses that they weren't prepared for. They thought they would always have the clientele, all of that stuff to sustain these things until stuff pop off. Okay, that doesn't align with, what has historically happened. And if you didn't get a chance to really work those creativity muscles when the stakes were low, it's going to be even harder when the stakes are high. When you know that people's livelihoods are depending on you figuring this thing out, a lot of the times fear can contract your creativity. Fear muffles it, muzzles it. It just keeps it in a cage. You can't really even think straight when you're fearful. So you want to make sure that you're practicing getting creative, thinking through problems on the fly, just so that so that you'll have that muscle built for when things are harder, okay? Next thing, state and local taxes. Don't you dare think that you're going to get by without paying a franchise tax, without paying a payroll tax, filing your 941s, making sure that you're putting aside and paying for unemployment insurance for that respective state, because they will find you. They will send you a nice little bill that you weren't expecting. You're like, what is this? This is a scam. No, it was the state, okay? It's not a scam. You owe them, okay? And the state is going to come for what the state is owed, okay? Just know that. Just know that. The state and all its localities and principalities, all of them, they're coming for you, okay? Especially sales tax, which is my 5th point. Every entrepreneur, especially the ones on e-commerce that are selling products, need to be aware of sales tax and how that works. I will be explaining that more in a future live. For this synopsis, I'm trying to keep it under 10 minutes. But sales tax, we're going to pass 10 minutes, but sales tax, there's this thing called economic and physical nexus. Physical nexus is when you have an employee in a state, whether you have inventory in a state, anything that could trigger a physical nexus, you owe sales tax in that state, and you can either pay it out of your cut, which is already, you got a lot of stuff already coming out of your cuts, okay? Or you could pass that on to consumers who should be paying the sales tax, which is supposed to be for the consumers anyway. So you want to make sure that you're keeping track of those things. Economic Nexus is what's the wild west is going to be next. Okay, let's repeat that. Economic Nexus is what y'all really should be concerned about, because that's the wild west. Okay, now Shopify is tracking and alerting people to when they hit certain Nexus thresholds in certain states. For more information, we're gonna have to dive into the Wayfair versus South Dakota. You know, we're gonna have to dive into a lot of stuff to further understand that. But just know, okay, if you're selling and shipping to certain states and you're hitting each state's threshold in dollar amount, whether that's 200,000, whether that's 100,000, whether there is no threshold, and if you just ship to that state in general, you owe them the coins. Be mindful of that, because the states will send you a nice little letter that says, hey, we noticed back in August 2018 that you've been selling X amount of dollars in my state, running me my check for each and every month dating back to August 2018. And if you ain't got the cash, like we talked about in point 1, to pay these states, honey, you're in for a road of situation. So that is the synopsis. That's today's synopsis of 5 things I believe every entrepreneur should be aware of or know. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. I need to start saying this at the beginning of the video. I'll be forgetting. But like, comment, subscribe, do all this. Share this with other entrepreneurs, okay? All right. I want to share the wealth. I literally want to see us build wealth, okay? Not lose it to these states for stuff that we could have prevented, okay? All right. See y'all later. Bye.